Do you have like a one best piece of advice for somebody else who already owns, who's like, hey, I want to triple my business? What's your best piece of advice for other owners? Also kind of know who you're taking advice. There's a lot of platforms. You kind of alluded to that on like the TikToks and stuff like that, right? There's a lot of people out there, which I think is a good thing, net positive of a lot of people sharing a lot of stuff out there. But sometimes you don't know who it is that is sharing the advice. And sometimes the loudest people are people you may not want to take advice from.
I just feel like in the beginning, there was a lot of negativity that people were saying, well, you're going to get this. You're going to get that. Of course you are. It's business. Of course you are. Learn to work through it, work past that, pivot, try to turn that experience different.
When you have somebody or people who are perpetually negative, perpetually complainers, they're going to complain about something always, which unfortunately, there's just people like that. And, you know, like Nick said, like sometimes those can be the best people, because if you meet them with kindness, sometimes it just snaps them out of it and turns them around and they become big, huge raving fans of yours, right? But sometimes it's just how they are, you know? How did you find your team? Like, one of the questions I get asked by laundromat owners most frequently is, how do I find good people to help me with my business? And I got a client right now, he's in New York, and he's like, I've got 2 people. One of them is like a little iffy. And so I've got one solid person. And if she ever leaves, I don't even know what I'm going to do. And I can't find like good people. But how did you guys find your good people?
Don't get us wrong. We went through the same hassles. We've had interviews scheduled. People don't show up. Honestly, it's just...
For somebody who's ready to get started and trying to maybe find their first laundromat, what's your best piece of advice for them? Hey, what's up, guys? It's Jordan with the Laundromat Resource Podcast. This is show 189, and I am pumped you're here today because, listen, if you want to learn how to triple your laundromat business, this is the episode for you. Nick and Sarah Macken are spilling all their secrets on how they did exactly that. And in fact, I'm so excited about it. We're going to jump right into it with Nick and Sarah right now. Nick and Sarah, how are you guys doing today?
Good.
Great. How about yourself?
I just living the dream over here, living the dream. You know, I'm not in my man cave. Like, it looks like you guys are in the man cave over there.
Yeah.
But, you know, otherwise I'm good.
Yeah.
How are you guys doing?
Good, man.
Great.
It's a beautiful day here in South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Sunny and 70.
Finally
Awesome.
getting that good weather now.
Yeah.
Yeah, starting to warm up a little bit. I don't know, man. I don't know how it was for you guys, but I've been watching, you know, the weather just kind of across the country all winter, and it's been looking like it's been freezing everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you guys caught that too, or if you guys are south enough to.
Yeah. We had a nice little break like 2 weeks ago. It hit 80 one of the days, and
Okay.
got shorts on and sweating again. But
We did get our snow, but luckily it melts by 11 a.m., so we're good to go after that.
Okay.
No
Okay.
shoveling required.
no.
Just enough time so the kids can't make it to school and everybody gets to stay home.
It might be
and-
windy that day, so you got to cancel school.
Yeah.
So
We're
That's
northern
right.
transplants too. So we're not used to them canceling school for flurries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
adjustment.
Transplants from where? Out of curiosity.
New Jersey.
Okay. Okay.
South Jersey,
Yeah.
just to clarify.
Okay.
Big
Oh.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
The Jersey Bar. Well, hey, super excited to chat with you guys today. Thank you for taking some time to come on, share your experience, share your wisdom with us. Why don't you give us a little background on who you guys are, and then we'll jump into how you got into this business.
Okay. I think I'll start off. So I actually am in the insurance industry. I'm an insurance broker on the commercial side. So I have my business management degree, went to Rutgers University in New Jersey, and I manage a large book of business in the real estate niche. And we were really looking into, I'm sure Nick will get there and dig into it further, but we were looking into just different streams of revenue. We were originally going down the real estate path. Rental properties were both pretty handy, mostly him. Started that off. We both grew up with that. Our families are very handy. We renovated our first house, full gut job. And went from there. It's something we enjoy and like to be a little creative, but I'm not going to take the credit away from him. He does most of it.
So I'm Nick Macken, and I'm a firefighter for shout out to the Irmo Fire District, greatest fire district in the whole Midlands of South Carolina. I did that for a while as a volunteer in Jersey, and I worked for the utility company the last 10 years before we moved, and worked on the gas and electric side there. And like Sarah said, handy, did a lot of our own stuff and houses we've owned and help other people and things like that. But I don't know, just general blue collar work is what I've done most of my life. So I don't have the cool credentials like this one has.
Get out of here.
Hey, somebody's got to carry the heavy loads, and then somebody's got to carry the heavy load, in the mind.
That's right.
You know
That's
what I mean?
why it works out. We balance each other out in that aspect.
That's right.
Yin and yang.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You think of hard work to do, and then Nick,
He does
go and
it.
do the hard work. Yeah. This is great. I like this setup already.
Nick, kind of.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Awesome. So, I mean, it sounds like you done some stuff with real estate, and all that. But why laundromats? I mean, I sound like you're looking for cash flow opportunities and stuff. But how did you land on laundromats?
So we've always talked about. So I'm like in the stars, dreamer kind of thing a lot of times. So since I was a kid, I've always said like, oh man, I want to run that, or we go somewhere on vacation, we'd see this business somewhere. I'd be like, man, we should put that in our hometown. And so we've always just wanted to. We thought we'd do rentals for a while. It's like we'll get a duplex or get a house and we'll rent it out. And that was the plan for a little while. And then we both like to listen to podcasts, so we were listening to one day in the car, and they were talking about, I think it was Cody. It was Bigger Pockets, I think, right?
Yeah, it was.
And
they were
doing Cody Sanchez, and I forget the guy's name. So she was talking about acquiring small businesses versus rentals. And they kind of went back and forth with that stuff. And we had never thought about buying a business.
Mm-hmm.
We had thought of that because in my mind, you need $1 million. Oh, you're going to buy a business, you need a lot of cash or whatever. And we just figured rentals was more achievable for us. So as they went back and forth with it, it just seemed like a possibility. And then, of course, she hit on laundromats at one point, which I never thought of. I used them a handful of times growing up when the washer would go out or something. But like everyone catches you with passive income.
Right.
Which I like because now, of course, everyone in the industry knows it's not passive. Right. So
it makes money while you're sleeping.
Yeah. Boring business. Passive income. You're like, wait, I wasn't bored. Like, I don't remember ever being bored.
No, we like to call it flexible income.
Yeah.
But so we kind of hit on that, and then we started looking into laundromat stuff, and I think I found like a little book I bought on Amazon about it, and then searched podcasts one day and found your podcast. And that kind of started the whole thing, really, is digging into the industry some. Mm-hmm. And then we started biz by selling, looking up stuff. This was while we were in Jersey. We started looking for laundromats up there in our area. And that's kind of the road started that way.
Yeah, I guess it overall was probably 2 years of researching. If you get to know us, we both research a lot, especially this one to the umpteenth degree.
We called him about machines.
Oh yeah, we've been through that. Yeah. I love it. Yeah.
So I mean, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. So you know what you're getting into and are prepared as much as you can be anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, we really just went from there. And once we moved to South Carolina, got settled a little bit, continued our search down here, and Nick really hit the ground running. I'll put that on him. Did the in-person visits, sat and washed loads of laundry there, took notes, made contacts, and a lot of networking. He's Mr. Social Butterfly, so he could talk the paint off a wall.
Yeah, so we started out, we would take, just went on Google Maps, and I found like 30 laundromats within, I don't know, maybe 20 miles of where we lived. 30 to a 40-minute travel was the most we were going to do. And made letters, just like everything like off Laundromat Resource, like make the letter, edited that, put a little flair on it, like, hey, we're family, I'm a fireman, we have kids, we're looking to buy a business, blah, blah, blah. And I have a bunch of letters. I go to laundromats, try to talk to an owner. 90% of the time, there's no one to talk to there or a number to get in contact with people. Pet peeve of mine. I don't understand not putting any information up to talk to people. If someone has a problem, they should be able to get a hold of the attendant, the owner, someone. I don't know if it's a pride thing with people or you're not proud of your store, but put a number up, take a phone call. That's all people want is a little bit of talking. But we did that. Sorry, I went off on a tangent there with that. But gave out letters, talked to a couple people. And some people just said, no, they're not interested in selling. And fine, I don't badger them. But I ended up running to an owner who was selling. He had 2 stores and he was selling one at the time, was going to sell the other one down the road. And the price he was talking about was out of our range. But he did hook me up with Bill Gilbert, who's the distributor for Dexter in our state. They just recently sold to Southeastern Laundry. But when Bill had a distributorship, it was SLM. So he made an introduction and got talking with Bill. And Bill kind of became a mentor for us.
Not kind of. He definitely did.
Yeah, I shouldn't say that. He's a good guy and gave us so much information, helped us walk us through things. And so that's how we got into that. And we ended up the store we ended up buying, I went into one of their stores to do laundry. We ended up seeing it on Biz Buy Sell. We didn't know it was for sale because we couldn't get in contact with anyone there. But that's how we found it and then reached out to them through that, their broker.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay. So, I mean, listen, you guys, I love this. Number one, I mean, you did a lot of good research, looking around. Was the relocation to South Carolina, was that planned or was that something because it sounded like you were looking in Jersey.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, what happens if you would have found one up there? Does that, in that case, so was that a planned relocation or was that just something that kind of came up and then you guys relocated?
Yeah, it was, I would say it was not like a long-term plan thing.
It was like a month worth of a plan.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That counts in my book.
Yeah.
That might be long-term for me. I don't know.
But that took place. It was all during the pandemic. So a lot of people left the Northeast during the pandemic. So I always call it, we run into a lot of people down here from New Jersey, New York, Connecticut. And I always joke with them, it was the great escape from the Northeast during that time. But
yeah.
Well, and to add to that too, we've always loved the South. We've wanted to live in the South.
We vacation down here.
And of course, obviously COVID had terrible things that occurred, but the positive, my job went remote, stayed remote. So it did give me that opportunity to then begin exploring other ideas of actually moving south like we wanted to, and alleviates that hiccup of having to find a new job.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you guys relocated and then kind of hit the ground running. What was the timeline like from when you relocated and settled and started looking to when you actually got your laundromat?
All within the first year. So we moved here in January of that year. And by the following February, we closed, but we started our due diligence process in November.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right over the holidays.
Yeah.
That's how you guys wanted to celebrate.
It all just kept going.
We were doing coin collections in December. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
and we
fun.
have 2 little ones. So mix Christmas and the holiday chaos with that. There you go.
Everybody's getting quarters in their stockings this year. And dryer sheets. Okay, awesome. So you said you found this one that you ended up getting on a Biz Buy Sell or one of the business sites. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I think it was Biz Buy Sell. They had it listed there through a broker, and they actually had 2 stores. They were selling both. Or 3. Oh, yeah. Well, it was 2.
There's 3.
2. It was a dry cleaner with a laundromat. They had a separate laundromat, and then they had a drop-off location in the town we live at for dry cleaning.
Okay.
So they were trying to sell the whole thing. It had been up for a little while, but we put a bid in on a whim. We couldn't afford the whole thing, but we asked them if they'd carve off the standalone laundromat.
And the reason that was more appealing to me, my business brain came in, of course, that we actually were lucky to purchase the property and not just lease the location.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, because the other one's in a strip center where the dry cleaner and laundromat is, so there's a lease involved and stuff there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the real estate is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you just bypass that. Is it like a standalone building?
It is, yep. And it's
Awesome.
1 block off a main drag of a really cute downtown, and less than a mile is the college on the same street.
Nice. Okay. I mean, what kind of, okay, I want to go back and talk about due diligence here in a second. But what kind of condition was this in? Was this like a good performing laundromat and the building was in good shape, or did you have to do work on it, or what? How was it when you went to buy it?
So the building itself was in good shape. We went through the umpteenth degree of inspections, as even had all the lines scoped just to make sure if there's going to be any hassle down the road.
Smart.
Especially because where we're at is an older town, a lot of historical things. So we wanted to make sure we were aware of all the infrastructure that we needed to know in case something up down the road were to pop up. We at least knew what kind of piping and things like that were going to be going on, and size wise as well of the drainage. So the building was in great shape. I'll let you dig into the rest.
So the building,
the dirty work, the heavy lifting's coming. Yeah.
So the building is 2,400 square feet, but they had it divided in half because back in the day when the guy we bought it from, John, his father had started the dry cleaner and stuff like that there.
Okay.
It's a storefront, glass front building. It's like a rectangle, goes back deep. So they had it kind of divided into 3 sections. They had the glass front was where you drop counter, come drop your clothes off. Behind that was a wall. The wall was where they stored racks of clothes. And then eventually they put another wall in behind that and decided that they put laundry equipment back there to do something with the rest of the building.
Mm-hmm.
So from the street side, when we looked at buying the building, they had just put junk in the front because they stopped doing the drop off there. It was junk. Definitely junk. There's a motorcycle, there's a bed frame, there was a dresser. So when you look at it from the front, it just looked kind of like a closed building. But if you drove into the parking lot on the side of the building, you could see that there was another entrance and it said Cool Laundry above it.
The actual entrance to the laundromat is actually on the side, left-hand side of the building. So you don't even know that there is another entrance.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Did you get to keep the motorcycle?
No.
We did ask, but no.
All right.
Nothing
I would have got excited. Laundromat and a motorcycle?
Safe.
Oh, yeah. Giant safe.
3,000-pound safe.
Yeah.
That's not true.
Giant old bank safe that we had to roll out on steel tubes and everything to get it out.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. I think when
sounds like one of those old Milner washers. I tried getting those suckers out, and those things are like.
There was doubt we weren't going to get it out, and we were like, all right.
We're going to decorate
turn it into some type
of
around it.
art.
Put a plant on top of it.
Like, that was honestly the plan at one point because we tried for a while to get it up, and then we found some guys who were willing to move it and take it, and they had a whole system to get it off the ground just enough to start moving it.
And you actually could no longer get it open. So we told them whatever's inside of it, you can have.
Yeah, that was part of the thing. If you find, I don't know, maybe there's thousands of dollars in it. I don't know. I'm pretty sure there's not, but that was the thing. If you find something in it, it's yours.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They probably made like a YouTube video. I've seen some like YouTube videos where they're like cracking safes and what's inside.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they told me when they took it to the junkyard, it was like 2,200 pounds or something.
Ooh.
It was quite heavy.
Yeah. Big boy.
Yeah.
What kind of condition were the machines in that were in there? Were they older? Were they newer?
Yeah. So they were all it was an all Dexter store, and they were 16 years old at the time.
They were 18.
No, they were 8. I thought they were 18 when we got rid of them. Maybe 18 years old then at the time. They weren't in terrible condition.
I believe Sarah. I just wanted to. I'm
She has
gonna.
a better brain. She has a better memory than I do.
You're the muscle man. I gotta go with the brain on this one.
Yeah.
See, he already knows how this duo works.
Yeah.
That's right.
I give like one little bit of pushback. I'm like, all right, she's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so 18 years old. They weren't in terrible condition. There were quite a few that were out of service. But like if you look past like the dirt and some things like that, like it wasn't bad. It wasn't terrible. It was definitely like a zombie mat, but not one of the worst zombie mats I've ever been in, but it definitely needed
some
work.
TLC.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Some TLC, a few parts, clean it up real nice. For a while there, people thought they were brand new machines because we had them shining and running well.
Yeah. That's how you know it's real bad is when you just clean the 18-year-old machines and people are like, are these brand new? And you're like, your grandma probably used them.
And we had put that in our part of the contract from due diligence was they had to have everything up and running, and it had to last for 2 weeks after we signed and took over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 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 And that's pretty common. That's a good contingency to have in there if you're looking to buy, a store, is having those machines up and then having some sort of, timeline on the back end too.
Mm-hmm.
Cause I've definitely seen owners or sellers like do some janky things to like make them run until that store closes. And then once it closes, they just kind of crumble. So that's good. Did you keep the store? I still want to go back to due diligence. Don't worry. But did you keep the store divided up how it was, or did you open it up, or like, what are you doing with that space the motorcycle garage?
The motorcycle is our main piece. No.
Yeah.
We're actually
free rides for the kids on the motorcycle. Yeah.
In our children's area.
Yeah.
We're actually coming up on our 2-year anniversary, and we've done it in stages. So if you wanted.
Yeah. So the first year, it was still divided, and we just demoed that whole other side, took everything out, gutted the whole thing, the flooring. And then once we got that stuff out, we started drawing up plans for what it would look like when we'd open the whole thing up. I built an office out with a new storage and cleaning area, and went from there. And then when we had the office and stuff done, we had contractors come in, and we ripped the wall out. We closed down for a week, and we ripped the dividing wall out, did all new flooring across it, put a drop ceiling in and tied it to the other side's drop ceiling, and installed new lighting on that side. And
so before that dividing wall came down, it was a lot of it was prepped. Yeah. A lot of electrical work was done. All the demo was done. Half of the drop ceiling was done. Once that wall came down, it was strictly just tying the two rooms in together, but we had everything prepped and ready to go so that we could be closed for as little amount of time as possible.
Yeah. And that was a fun time, chasing all the electric wires in the ceiling that went to who knows where, and
some that did nothing.
Stuff that was just up in the ceiling that was hot, you know what I mean? So
oh yeah.
Yeah, it's always a fun time when you're demoing stuff.
Yeah, you got hot wires floating around and lint drifting through the store all day, every day.
That was the other thing, the amazing amount of lint that was just above the drop ceiling and stuff like that. Crazy. Actually, almost had a fire in there one time. The fire department got called because it smoked out. There was so much lint behind the front of the dryers and in those boxes in the back. Yeah. One of them started to smoke. The fire department got called. Nothing caught on fire, but
that was early on.
Yeah, that prompted us to then we called Bill Gilbert. Hey, what's the maintenance for one of these things? What should we address right now? And it was pop them off and clean those lint boxes out back. And when we did that, I took out, 3 trash bags worth of lint outside of those machines. And a lot of it you can see was already starting to brown, where it was getting to the point where it wanted to light off.
Catch. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm a little disappointed you didn't just take care of this thing. The fire thing. This is what you This is what you do, man. This is what you do.
Avoid that. My stuff that's going to catch on fire.
Yeah. Okay. And when you kind of opened stuff up, or you're opening stuff up, are you adding like more machines, or what are you doing with the space?
So initially we put in, Sarah's big thing was the kids area. That was one of her main objectives, was to put a nice spot for the kids. So,
well, first before that, so when we first took over, before even taking that wall down, the largest 2 washers were the 60 pounders at that time. So they were obviously the most used. So we quickly installed 2 more of those. We did have 2 brand new Dexter's 60 pounders put in within the first 2 months of owning.
Yeah.
And that was just so we could get things moving a little bit more. But as soon as the wall came down, it was so crammed. I wish we had like pictures that we could show you.
It was just very tight.
There was no seating. Everyone always sat in their cars because there was some seating, maybe like 2 smaller benches, but there was really nowhere for anyone to go, especially kids. And then when kids are bored, that's when you're going to lead to accidents and things turning into chaos in your store.
Kids walking on top of your machines.
In the machines.
In the carts.
In the carts.
Yeah. So anyway, when the wall did eventually come down, that was a big focus, was giving everyone more space to move about, giving them that folding space further away from the machine so that flow can continue while everyone is continuing. Others are folding. And then also adding our children's area so kids can be a little more occupied while everyone has to do their fun job of laundry.
Yeah.
The 2 dexters we put in were the express models. And
this is a good learning point.
Yeah, this is a good one. Core drill your concrete in your store, people, to make sure you can support 200G high spin hard mount stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We found out we couldn't. So when I'd be demoing on the other side and those things would get up to 200 Gs, you could feel it shake across the store. So
we had to turn them down to 100
all the way down.
So we paid extra for those machines and couldn't use them.
Yeah.
To the full capacity anyway.
Yeah, we'd incrementally just keep turning them down about 20 Gs. I think that's what they do. And we ended up just taking them all the way down because the vibration and the noise they make was annoying to me. I'm sure it was annoying to the customers.
Well, yeah, and it probably would have caused a real big problem down the line.
That's what I was worried about, the rest of the concrete around it and vibrating and cracking and all other things around them.
Yeah, these are just kind of the things that you don't know if you don't know, right?
And then
go ahead.
Yeah, that's just you assume like, oh, they poured concrete, it's got to be 4 or 6 inches everywhere. And even when we did our retool this year and the last year, we found out it was thinner in spots than that area was,
which is surprising.
Yeah. So you never know. So, do your due diligence on that stuff. And, cause we had talked to, we're jumping, I'll get to that when we talk about the retool, but there's other lessons even during that to pass out. But
yeah. And of course, not a deal breaker, just something to be aware of, especially when you're going to be doing remodeling and retools.
Yeah. But, what else did we do there? We redid the bulkhead. We redid that and we put butcher block on for the folding area that was on the backside of the bulkhead. Before we opened it up, we did some improvements like that. We put we call it our house rule sign, where it just has, hey, this is what, how you do things here. And then at the bottom has my name, my number, Sarah's name, and her number.
Quite large.
And people really appreciated that. And then when people,
little things,
when we'd see them in the store, we always introduce ourselves, and I always take them over side and say, look, this is the sign right here. This is my number. Call my wife if you can't get a hold of me, but please call us if you ever have a problem. Mm-hmm. I always tell people, when you come here, you're not supposed to have an issue. We want you to have a good time. You should be able to relax, get those clothes clean, and then have a great day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And of course, when we first bought, we did a refresh, repainted. Brains is escaping. Refinished the changer.
Oh yeah, we had
like
a wrap company come out and wrap it was a standard American, like the blue old school looking changer. We had them wrapped like with our design on it. Mm-hmm. Just something different.
Yep.
Little things,
little touches that people actually, people pick up on everything. We don't like to dismiss like, oh, no one's going to notice. They don't care. Every little detail that we have changed over the 2 years, everyone has noticed it. Yeah. And they all people will always come up and tell us they appreciate that we care and are making an effort and constantly trying to give them a nice space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's huge. And it's true. And, one of the things that we do with, like our clients and stuff is we do what we call an outside eyes audit, where we, have people come in who aren't our normal customers and aren't us, and somebody that we can trust are going to tell us like it is, right? Because sometimes we don't notice those little details anymore because we see them every day. They don't really bother us, or, we're not using the space like customers are using the space, right? So getting that feedback from customers or doing something like an outside eyes audit, is huge to illuminate some of these like little details that you wouldn't notice, and you don't even think matter that much, but like you said, people notice.
Yeah.
So 2 points to that, actually. So even as we've taken pictures since we purchased the laundromat, you notice things in pictures a lot more than you do in person because you're used to seeing it every day. Then when you see a space in a picture, like, oh, we didn't finish that. Another thing that we did during due diligence, because we were already under contract, we were going to close in a couple of weeks, actually went in there and, he did, and asked the existing customers, what they would like to see or what they would like changed here, what would make their experience better. And we had our own laundry list, went through things that we saw, and then we still got more feedback from them on top of it. And it was great.
Yeah, and I want to say everything on that list, I think we actually ended up doing. It was more carts. It's too dark outside at night. Cameras, the folding tables. I have the list somewhere. I have a book from when I used to go out when I scout. I take this one book and I have all the notes in it. And I think Teresa, right?
Yep.
She's still customers of ours there now. We talked to her quite a bit. And, but yeah, stuff we had written down, and then we asked customers the same thing.
And it's interesting too, because the woman he brings up, Teresa, she's actually a business owner herself. So she had that, her whole family runs their own businesses, a different type, different industry niche. So it's fun just having those conversations too, because she's like, oh, well, did you think about this from this point of view and this? Even a little outside of specific to customer use of a laundromat, it'd be like marketing and all kinds of ideas. So it's been interesting getting to know everyone over the years.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And, that's, you're lucky to have a customer who's kind of thinking that way. Like most people aren't thinking that way, right? Like a business owner. And, it's really cool to be able to get into, conversations or just be around other people who get business, even if it's not our specific business. And because we just think different, right? And then we're looking at different things and brainstorming different ideas for ourselves. And, stuff comes up that was like, oh, have you considered this? It's super cool.
It is. You get excited. We laugh sometimes like, oh yeah, you get excited, like bouncing the ideas off of each other, even though it's a completely different niche. It doesn't matter. Some things are the same across the board.
Yeah, totally. Okay. I want to go backpedal a little bit. Maybe we can come back to this here in a second, but can we go back and talk about due diligence? First of all, let's start here. Was this laundromat like performing? Was it making money when you bought it? Was it something that you had to like make money, or what? Where was it at kind of in that spectrum?
So I think it was profitable. So one, it was hard because they had the financials together from the two laundromats with the dry cleaner. So they had to try to separate them some. So it wasn't a clear picture the whole time either, but, they were making money when we did coin pools. We did coin pools for 6 weeks. And we were also, I pulled your sheet off the website that does the water, the coin pool. I think those are two main things on there.
The water analysis.
Yeah, the water analysis and then we had the coin collection on top of that. So we did that, and then we compared them to their utility bills to make sure like what they were doing with their water usage versus what we're seeing with their water usage was similar. And it was profitable. Like it would cover for the loans that we were going to take out. It would cover the loans and make a little money. But it wasn't like killing it. You know what I mean? It wasn't this, knock out the park laundromat. It was an average thing.
Yeah. Okay. So how did you, it sounds like you did some of these kind of standard stuff. Any other like takeaways from sort of the due diligence period? You mentioned you did coin collections, water analysis on the place. Anything else you guys were doing for due diligence?
Standard stuff.
But this being our first experience, we did have a real estate agent, and then we of course had an attorney. The attorney, obviously, in my opinion, and probably most, is essential. Them being more than just a paper pusher, luckily ours was, and went to the umpteenth degree to check everything that you could think of. Found some issues that we weren't aware of. And it delayed closing a couple of times. Things with the state that needed to be taken care of. But thank God we had that in our corner because the other side wasn't even aware of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've seen that happen lots of times where, sometimes, listen, let's just be real. Sometimes there's malicious things that sellers are doing or hiding or, and it comes out like that. But, a lot of times stuff comes up that the seller's not even aware of, and you wouldn't even know to look for if you don't have, somebody like a lawyer in your corner who's looking in the places that you wouldn't even know to look for things you wouldn't even know to look for. Right. Yeah. And that's huge, right? Because if you miss something, like that is got the potential to make or break your business owning experience, right? Or maybe you don't even own the business when you think you do, or, or real estate, stuff like that can happen and does happen when you try to kind of DIY that stuff. So kudos to you guys for getting people in your corner.
Thank goodness. And by no means do we believe that there was a malicious intent. We have a great relationship with the previous owner. It was a family-run business then. I think Nick mentioned his father before him owned it and started it. We still talk to them to this day.
Yeah.
I just think it was something that slips through the cracks.
Yeah, that's all. And then, they're great people. I would call them for a while, and when I couldn't figure out something with the machine, I'd call him and he'd help me walk through fixing something.
Or a couple of times, even when parts were on back order, he had some on hand.
Gave me a part, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did they end up selling that other one too, or they still have that one?
Still have it.
They still have it.
Yeah.
Still have it. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, they were good. I mean, they gave us him and his wife. Their wife's a sweetheart too. They gave us a bottle of champagne when we closed.
That's awesome.
It was really nice.
Yeah, I mean, really nice people. So very fortunate that we had that interaction, with the seller. So
yep.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. So you went through that due diligence process. You did it over the holidays. I mean, do you recommend that, or do you not recommend that? Was it a big deal?
It was a positive thing because December is supposed to be one of your most busiest months. So we want to see what it's like going in the store during your busiest time and how it's handled. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. And then, over the last couple of years, has business grown? Has it stayed pretty steady, or like, what's that look like for you guys?
Yeah. So over the first year, we doubled what they were doing off what we calculated. We doubled business, and we're on the verge of almost tripling it now after the retool.
Mm-hmm. So the first year, what, 50% increase?
Yeah, 50%.
No,
100%.
Yeah. Again, tired. It's a long day.
But it's like every time we did a phase, like when we first took it over, there was a jump. When we opened the store up, there was a jump. And like retail, now there's been a jump. So it's trending up, and that's all we could ask for, really. So
was this something that you anticipated when you bought it? Like, did you think, hey, there's potential to double business here?
I don't know. I know I thought we could do better than what they were currently doing. I didn't know what the actual numbers would turn out to be, but I felt like there was more meat on the bone out there to get.
Yes. Definitely didn't expect where we are now as far as growth. So that's a positive. I mean, that's great. But like you said, we knew there was more potential.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can't just go around saying, oh yeah, like we doubled business and we're casually on the verge of tripling business here. Like what were the things that you guys did? Do you feel like what you did to double business and triple business?
In my opinion, it's the basics. Be extremely friendly, hold yourself accountable, hold yourself to a higher standard. A lot of things that we heard in the beginning of, oh, your customers aren't going to care. Oh, that's going to go missing. Yeah. So much negativity. Yeah. And I said, hey, you might come across that. We might. Absolutely. But I feel is if we come in with a higher standard and these are what our expectations are, and this is how we want to present our business and be a part of our community, I think people are going to appreciate that more. And honestly, we've had so many interactions with our customers that are like, we'll laugh because they might not know we're there now that the store's opened up. There's like a little area you can't see up at the front if someone comes in the side door still. They're like, hey, that wasn't like that when you got here. Clean up after yourself. Like people holding each other accountable, which is really nice.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And it is a smaller town, which I think helps us in that aspect. People want a nice, clean place to come to, a friendly place. One of our big things, especially Nick being the social butterfly, when you walk in the store, we want you to feel comfortable, welcome. Oh, you're running into Joe you haven't seen in months. Oh, it's so great to come across. We run into that all the time. It's
really nice to see when people haven't seen each other there for a while and they sit and they kind of catch up while they're waiting for the laundry to get done. The goal was to build the community, the nicest laundromat, the nicest, I should say, the nicest place to come and do your laundry, period.
Someone recently referred to it as it's really a community hub that people look forward to coming to now. And I was like, wow.
That's like the best compliment.
Yes.
That they feel like this is a place to be and to do, not only getting the wash done, they're going to see someone, or if they're going to run into us or one of our attendants there, they're friendly. I treat it like if you were coming to my house, I open the door, come on in. Like I ask you, hey, how you been? And we do the same thing there. We treat it as if you were coming to our home. And then, there was good reaction from that because they weren't used to that in the other laundromats, It goes back to like what I said in the beginning where you can't get a hold of the owner, or sometimes it is the owner. They won't tell you they're the owner.
Well, we had that. That's why he brings that up specifically.
But you should want to take care of, if someone had a problem there, it was personal to me. Like, all right, what was it? And they could be as mad as they want. And I get it. But I tell them all the time, I said, we're going to make it right. I said, I'm not going to fight. That's the other thing. I never fight over quarters. Let me give you a free wash. Let me pay for the dry today or whatever. Or the clothes aren't dry yet or something. It doesn't matter. It didn't get hot enough. I take care of it. I take care of it every time. I don't fight over that with the customers. Now, we kept track of when people would call us and if we Venmo'd them something or something like that, we have a list. So we knew if someone was just constantly calling and doing that and had a pattern, we only had that maybe once.
Yeah. Once or twice.
Yeah. And then they would tell their friends who come there, oh man, I had the dryer or washer didn't work right. I got on the phone with Nick, gave me my refund, or called the attendant who lives down the street. He came back and took my clothes out, put them in the next washer, started it. We always tag machines too. That was a big thing before we retooled. And we'll do it now if there's an issue. But if we knew there was an issue with a machine, we immediately put a tag, said out of service on it so that no one else could use it. And then we didn't keep running into problems. But like customer service is number one. And I take that. I mean, we do that at the fire department. Everything's referred to. These are our people. These are my people. We take care of our people. And I do that there.
So customer service, cleanliness, safety. Yeah, safety is big, especially with daylight savings time when it gets dark out, even at 4:00 in the middle of the day. We've had the utility company come back out like, hey, this light is way too dark. We need this replaced. We need another pole. We need lighting up here. Number one. There were cameras before. We just increased it. Every inch of the property is covered inside and out.
And we could communicate through them. You make them buzz or make a noise or something like that.
Talk to them through too. Yeah. I just feel like in the beginning, there was a lot of negativity that people were saying, well, you're going to get this. You're going to get that. Of course you are. It's business. Of course you are. Learn to work through it, work past that, pivot, try to turn that experience different. A lot of people, of course, our area is different. We're not in the middle of a city, but yes, there you would come into issues with homeless people. We address it as it comes up. None were really that difficult situations. We only had one that we had to call the cops to address because it just was getting worse and worse and was ruining property. But other than that, it was nothing that was unmanageable.
And then we do things like we keep fruit snacks on hand all the time. We give fruit snacks out to the kids. And we tell the attendants to give fruit snacks out to the kids. Or if we're filling the vending machine, and if like kid will walk over, I'll just give them stuff out of the vending machine. Yeah. Things like that. Or a lot of times we'll just offer the customers water or something, because you get to know your regulars who will be in there. And we're opening up that machine. We'll give out drinks or whatever.
holding doors for people when their hands are full, trying to get in and out, helping. We just were in there yesterday. A younger mother was in there with 2 kids, one in a car seat, another's a toddler, and she's pregnant, and her baby had been crying. You could tell she was being flustered. We're like, hey, let us help you. We'll help carry your stuff to the car. Just things to us that are being a good person. Yeah. Just help other people out. Go that extra step.
Yeah, I mean, it really reminds me, the customer service bit, I mean, it sounds like you guys are just crushing that part of it. That probably just a huge, I mean, obviously like cleaning it up, making it safe is all a huge part of it. But I think that
service, that set us apart for sure.
Yeah, that customer service, I mean, it just, I've got back on my Audible bookshelf, Unreasonable Hospitality.
Yeah.
Right? Sounds like right up your alley where you're just like kind of going above and beyond. And I mean, you are and you aren't, right? You're like just kind of being good people, right? It's really not like anything crazy.
It's not rocket science, so I feel bad. And someone's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Be nice to people."
Be nice.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, it's easier said than done. Like, it sounds like maybe previous owners or other owners that you've talked to, you kind of just mentioned some of the comments that you've gotten about like it's really easy to get jaded, when somebody takes advantage of you, or when you're like trying really hard to be nice and accommodate people and provide a good experience, and somebody wrecks your machine or tries to break into your coin box or graffitis your building, or, like whatever, like all those things, right? It can really deflate you and frustrate you, and like you're investing money by like retooling and stuff, and then somebody stuffs a washer in it, breaks the door lock, or I don't know, whatever, like 1,000 different things.
I think to that point it has been helpful that there's 2 of us, because when I'm up here angry, irritated, all right, you got to step in, I need a minute. And vice versa, like as
the muscle or as the social butterfly, which one?
Have this conversation because I'm too angry.
What's up with that? We never go like our default is not to like go on attack mode with stuff like that. Like you catch more flies with honey, right? So, and then people are always like, it's very easy to like change someone's demeanor when you meet them with kindness or a little compassion, a little empathy for something.
Not always.
No, and sometimes you got to be tough, but.
Well, and sometimes you're going to have really angry people.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Overall, it hasn't, like, we haven't had it that bad with the customers and some of the bad experiences we've had. And sometimes we're just like, all right, well, we can't please everyone. And then if they're going to complain about everything, then just go somewhere else. I don't want you as my customer.
That's been our other thing. You aren't going to please everybody. That's fine. If you're so unhappy, that's okay. I understand. Sorry, we couldn't help you. There's one down the street. There's another laundromat down the street. I don't know what to tell you. There's only so much one person, 2 people can do.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes the headache is not worth the whatever revenue you might get from somebody. Sometimes it's not worth it.
I mean this in the nicest way, but I don't want a customer that's like that. Then I don't want you as a customer because you're just angry all the time.
Well, and it sounds like you guys are working really hard on building this in the environment, right? Like that's really what I'm hearing, is that you're working hard on building the environment, and all of like the cleanliness, the safety, the friendliness, like all that stuff is like environment building, right? And when you have somebody or people who are perpetually negative, perpetually complainers, they're going to complain about something always, which unfortunately there's just people like that. And like Nick said, like sometimes those can be the best people, because if you meet them with kindness, sometimes it just snaps them out of it and turns them around and they become big, huge raving fans of yours. Right. But sometimes it's just how they are, and if you're creating this environment that's really positive, I mean, I wrote down like it's a community hub that people look forward to coming to. Like you said that, somebody told you that, right? Like, and if that's what you're really trying to create, you've also got to be protective of that. Right. And not allow people, like I like the house rules thing, right? Like not allow people to behave in a way that's going to threaten that environment that you're working so hard to create. Now it's easier said than done. And it gets very emotional sometimes when people are violating that because you're working so hard to build it. And like you said, it can be helpful to have two people, somebody else to chime in or to tap in when you're just like
we do with the kids.
up to here.
Yeah,
exactly. It's what it's like.
Oh, for sure.
It's really what it's like. It's like having little kids sometimes, where you've got to just manage your emotions the best you can, and when you can't, like somebody else has got to come in and step up.
Yep.
But no, I mean, I love sort of that cohesive, and I don't know, I'm not even sure if you guys have been thinking about it this way or not, but like this kind of cohesive plan that you guys have to create an environment for your customers, which kind of rolls naturally into, I mean, you guys have mentioned that you retooled. Questions about that? Like, how did you know when it was time to retool, and what was that experience like retooling?
We always knew it would had to be done eventually. It was just repairs were going up. We got tired of dealing with the coin jams in the actual washers and dryers and cleaning those things out and adjusting them. And then it still would have a problem. Like someone would call me the next day. I just took that one apart and cleaned all the lint out, scrubbed it down.
Replace the coin mechanism.
Yeah, replace the coin mechanism in the thing. And that was the biggest, I would say, probably what we got calls about the most was some issue with the things taking quarters. So it was either invest thousands of dollars in putting in all new changers in those machines, or, the ones with the, ion, whatever they are, they detect it instead of an actual mechanism anymore.
Yeah.
But that was thousands and thousands of dollars when we knew we had to spend money to retool anyway. And we had saw a little bit, like kind of a window into that whole retooling thing with the two new machines. We saw because they weren't next to the old ones, we had to put them all the way down the end of the row. So people had to look and go down there. But what we saw was people ended up, they would see those new machines, they migrated to them immediately. And then those new machines that are all the way at the end of the store, they overtook the old 60 pounders in sales.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So we have a little glimpse into new machines. People want them. They will use them more. And we got a little more business too, because we had a couple extra machines in the store, but, we just kind of knew. And I think into about a year into it, I had started looking at machines. And then about 6 months from the retool, I really started calling. We had, we looked at Hipsch, Dexter, Continental, and Electrolux. And I was pretty set on Dexter for a while because we had such a great relationship with Bill and his company.
And the equipment we had, yes, it was old, but it was still performing great.
Right, yeah. So we had a good experience with
Minus
Dexter.
the coin mechanisms.
And they have an excellent service tech.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Travis. Excellent service tech. And a cool guy. He walked me through things over the phone. I didn't always have to schedule him. He let me watch when he'd work on things. So I know you guys talk about the distributor relationship a lot. And that's really important because that really helped us make these jumps in our business.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where we were. We looked at them. I looked at them, and I looked at them. And then we would go I went to Charlotte to look at touchscreen, because we had a criteria. We wanted touchscreen because I just feel like that's where everything is gone. That's where cell phones have gone, computers, everything's touch. So we wanted touchscreens. We wanted higher spin out on the washers. Some type of remote control, so that because we operate a lot of that store remotely. The doors are remotely through the cameras.
Now we have LaundryWorks.
Yeah, now we have LaundryWorks too. But we wanted as much remote control as possible because we don't always want to have to be at that store. We'd like to take vacation, things like that. I think those were the three big criteria. So we went to Charlotte and looked at stuff, and other spots in South Carolina, and talked to the owners. All those distributors were good. They put us in contact with other owners to talk to on the phone, and they arranged for us to come meet them, things like that.
All the standard things. We just actually went and did it all.
Yeah.
And networked. It was huge.
Awesome.
I enjoy going to these other stores anyway. So I've not been looking at laundromat. So to me, it was
true laundromat owner.
Yeah. So
if we're on vacation, we stop at firehouses and laundromats.
Yeah.
But that's how that whole process started. And then it just took a while. We laid the store out, and we weren't planning on doing it last December. This time period right now, spring of this year, was when we were thinking, this is when we're comfortable. We'll do it. We had a phone call with you guys talking about. So I get analysis by paralysis sometimes.
I was gonna say, our phone call was basically Sarah saying,
I will get you.
Yeah.
So
help this guy make a decision.
Yeah.
That was the essence of the call. Sarah saying, help this guy make a decision.
Just tell him yes.
So we had gotten down to Continental and Electrolux, and just short story, we couldn't put the Dexter touch controls in because they were 200G. We don't have the concrete to support that, which comes back from the first time we put the express machines in. So we couldn't, I really couldn't narrow it down. We had a phone call with you guys and ended up talking with Electrolux, and which was a great decision. The team from there, Chris Brick and Nick Mallard, that team that did the install, those guys are awesome.
Amazing.
Super, responsive, quick with everything. Nice people to work with. Mm-hmm. And Chris came down, came down, looked at the store, gave us a layout. We went through numbers, and then we also talked about projections, which was another big thing because none of the other distributors sat down, did like a projection thing with us, sat down, looked at our numbers, and then came up with a game plan. Like, all right, so when we put these in, we need to capture this many more customers. We're going to increase the prices to this amount, and projected like this is the kind of income we should be looking at to cover this note. Mm-hmm. Which was huge to us because no one had done that with us yet. And that was a question we'd had. So whoever we were going to go with before we signed the paperwork was going to be do all that with us, because my weakness as a business owner is kind of some of that end of the business stuff. I have to look into that more. I'm not I don't want to say not financially good, but I don't know about projecting things. It's all stuff I've learned along the way with this business. So having someone sit down and talk you through all that was huge.
Mm-hmm.
Massive. And I was surprised because when we talked, you were like, okay, I'm thinking spring, time, which, we're recording this and we're maybe on the very front end of spring here. So I was like, okay, well, I could put you in touch with some people and, have some conversation. And then I got an email not that long later saying, hey, they put in machines. And I was like, whoa, what? Awesome. I don't know who talked Nick into doing this quickly, but kudos to them, whoever it was.
It makes a difference on who you are and you interact and how you present.
On our gut feeling and the relationship and how we interact with anybody that we work with. Because we are looking for long-term partnerships, long-term relationships, so that our goal is to continue to grow, open more stores, and we want a partner that can continue to do that with us and be another extended support arm for us.
You hear horror stories with other distributors where they're not supportive or they didn't really do that well when they oversold them equipment
or unresponsive. That's a big pet peeve of mine. Unresponsiveness drives me crazy.
Welcome to the industry over here. Everybody listening to this is like, oh my gosh. I guess this is your nightmare then.
But then
I was going to say what I think was really good about that is, as we were kind of talking about replacing machines and you're like, yeah, we're kind of there. We need to do it. We're thinking about spring, and why I'm glad you ended up doing it. And I'm curious to see if this has played out well, but why I'm glad you ended up doing it earlier than spring is, you're kind of just losing revenue, all the time from when we talked to spring, whenever in spring you were planning on doing it, you're kind of losing revenue by not replacing the machines earlier. But I'm curious, it sounds like it is, but is it playing out that way for you where business has grown? And I'm curious, are you on the path to those numbers that they projected out for you, or how is that playing out for you?
We are actually. So a little bit behind the scenes details. So we were fully coin operated. 4 months into ownership, we did install pay range, which was a good interim solution because we were not financially prepared or convinced on Laundry Works. Nothing against Laundry Works at the time. We were just new and still had a lot of processing. And I'm like, we're not ready for that yet. We still have to figure out just how to run it.
And it's a lot of capital put I mean, they're not cheap systems either.
Right.
So it was just capital also too. We didn't have
Right.
the time after buying the business.
Right. And so also I mentioned previously, we're a smaller town. So in my opinion, some people are harder to change their habits of not using coins. And I'm emotionally attached to some of our customers that I knew I was very nervous they would not come back. And he's laughing because I wanted to be hybrid.
Yeah.
We had many conversations with other laundromat owners who were either hybrid or fully card, no coins, to try and make our decision. In the end, we did go all Laundry Works, 0 coins. It's been a great transition. We, again, because we are very customer focused, we do have 3 team members that are huge. We love our team that's in place. And we'll actually be growing and adding another one in the next 2 weeks or so. But our team members are a huge part of our success too. And they know, quickly touching on if we have customers or someone's upset, they know our approach to things and know that we back them up 100%. And hey, I'm like, hey, it's not worth arguing over $3.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, we don't want to lose a customer over $3.
Yeah.
Anyway, so when we did switch over to Laundry Works, we were fully attended. We right now are only partially attended, but to help with the transition. And because we knew it was going to be a big difference for people to not use quarters, walk through the whole system. It's been great. We've received a great response. My hairdresser actually goes to our laundromat to do her linens. When they have people come in town, she's like, it's like a Dave & Buster's, but for laundry. That's awesome. I thought that was a great comparison. So we've gotten a lot of good feedback. There has been a couple times that people are like, no, I don't know how to do this. And they go to leave. Thank goodness we're either there or an attendant. We're like, please just give us 1 second. We'll help you. We'll show you through it. We'll go through a wash and a dry. If you don't think your clothes are cleaner than they were before coming here, then like with our old machines, we'll give you your money back. And every time they're like, this is amazing. Yeah. Look at this. So customers have been very happy. Sometimes you just have to convince them like, hey, just give us a chance. And
you didn't lose any friends?
I think we did. I don't know. We're going to ask around. We talked about it yesterday. I think there's one that I'm very attached to. I don't think they come anymore, but we've received a lot more customers.
Yeah.
But I do
hope new friends. Yeah. No, it is tough. I mean, that's a question I get asked all the time is, what do I do? Do I do coin? Do I do hybrid? Do I do go full card? And I mean, it's a hard decision to make. And, kudos, just knowing you guys and Nick, you specifically, kudos for making that decision and going. I know. Yeah. And going full card system. That's a tough decision to make. I mean, going back, like if you had to go back and make the decision all over, you making the same decision, would you go hybrid? What's your thought on that?
I would absolutely stay the same and go full card.
Yeah. Even now, like when we're always looking for another store, that's one of the first purchases that we made.
Is Laundry Works.
We're switching it to Laundry Works immediately.
Mm-hmm.
It takes so much burden off the owner of collecting jams, unnecessary maintenance things.
Mm-hmm.
You can monitor their system's excellent. You can monitor so much remotely, and the detailed reports you can get out of it. You can see when that store's busy or slow,
which helps with a lot of different business decisions, not just what type of machine is doing the best, not even just that. It helps with staffing. It helps with marketing. It helps with everything. Being able to have that information at your fingertips, and it saves you so much time. And as the person who did not want to get rid of the quarters, the amount of time it takes to do our collections, I laugh now. The first time I did it, I laughed. I was like, wait, I'm done? That's it?
I'm like, yeah, just pop that box out, take that cash out, say goodbye.
I was like, wait, just stick the card here and we're done?
Because we always everything individually by machine. So weigh everything out. We knew exactly how much each type of machine was doing by turn. And and it would take an hour or so,
Now it's 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's funny. Like I'm going back to like my very first week of owning my very first laundromat, and I didn't have I ended up using an accounting scale for my quarters when I bought that first laundromat, but I didn't have anything. And I didn't even know that you could weigh and what, like, I forget what it is, like $100 is like 20 pounds or whatever it is, $1,000. I don't know. I don't remember. But I didn't know any of that. And so like the first week I counted the quarters.
No.
Like I counted like individual quarters. I'm like hours, like this takes so long. Like what is, and then I realized like, okay, I can get a counting scale. So I got a counting scale and I was like, oh, that's so much faster. But even that, you know, like, and then go into like a Laundroworks type system or, you know, whatever it is, you know, and just really streamlining it, makes that collection so much better. But it's just funny. I was just kind of like laughing at myself of like that first week where I'm like counting like piles of quarters.
Before I figured out like there was weights for X amount of money, I had it by grams and I would do math. Like, all right, I had weight. Divide this weight by grams, and I had the longest. I would use a whole note page, 2 note pages of math. Oh yeah, that's how much money we made. And then I was like, oh wait a minute, there's someone has done all this work already. Like, wait, you know?
Yeah, it's so funny, man. Yeah. But yeah, in like, I think we're getting to that phase now in our industry where we can kind of laugh at that stuff. There's still people doing that, obviously, like plenty of people weighing quarters.
And hey, whatever works for you works for you. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, totally. But we're getting to that point now where it's like, it literally takes me like 30 seconds to collect now. And I have all the reports. So I know how much money is there, you know, and all that stuff. So
top on my phone, we look at what the store is doing for the day. Oh yeah, man, this has been a good Tuesday. You know, it's picked up. This is a little higher than what we used to do on Tuesdays. So, you know, and it helps you change the conversation from, oh man, the store's doing this much. Now it's like, all right, we need to move people from the weekend to the slower days. Our tenant will call us. He's like, yeah, I'm telling people to wait. Because all the machines are gone. I'm telling them, wait, you got 2 minutes on this machine. Wait, I'll move you over.
He does. Thank goodness.
Yeah,
Dean's amazing.
He's our weekend assistant tenant. He's good. He'll stop people from walking out the door. But like, just wait a minute.
He's watching the time on the machine. He's like, this one has 2 minutes. Hold on. Before you another store, it's going to be done.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I mean, first of all, like kudos to you guys. That's a good problem to have when all those machines are spinning. But a problem nonetheless, right? And it's something to like address. Like you want to try to kind of find that balance, right? Of like, we don't have machines tied up too long, but we don't have too much downtime either.
Exactly. So that's kind of where we are now, is learning, I don't know how to say it, the mechanisms, the behind the scenes of changing people's habits of everyone going to do laundry on Sunday. Like, hey, he's just getting people to shift days of the week and then we'll be good.
Yeah. And incentive, I mean, you can incentivize that too, right?
Exactly.
Like,
and that's what,
especially when you have something like a Laundroworks or a system like that, it makes it really easy. It's a little tougher to do if you've got coins. I remember trying to do that early on too, for a little while, where I was trying to get people off the weekends, and I'm like, oh, like every Tuesday night I've got to change. I had to like manually change the machines to a different price. And then Wednesday night I'd have to change it back, or like, just like some of the stuff I had to do early on. And part of it was I just didn't know what I was doing. And part of it was that we just didn't have that capability back in the day to do some of the stuff that, especially now that you can do with some of these, you know, digital payment systems that we got on the market. One of the things you've mentioned a couple times now, and I'm kind of curious, like you've got, let me back up. So when people ask me like, hey, what do I need to make sure that I succeed here? You know, I inevitably say like, hey, I mean, customer service, yes, but in terms of like what you need the right technology to help you, and you need, most importantly, the right people to help you. Right. And so you've mentioned your team multiple times and you've kind of bragged on them, and I want to give you an opportunity to do that a little bit more. But like, how'd you find your team? Like, one of the questions I get asked by laundromat owners most frequently is, how do I find good people to help me with my business? And I got a client right now. He's in New York, and he's like, I've got 2 people. One of them is like a little iffy. And so I've got one solid person. And if she ever leaves, I don't even know what I'm going to do. And I can't find like good people. But how did you guys find your good people?
Don't get us wrong. We went through the same hassles. We've had interviews scheduled. People don't show up. Honestly, it's just,
which is a new thing. So I never had to interview
Believe me.
people really.
He did not believe
Yeah,
me.
Sarah
that this was
does
going
that
to
more
happen.
for her job. So the first time we inherited one employee when we took the store over. She was the night cleaner. She had been there for years. And it eventually just kind of came to a differing of opinions on things, and we just parted ways. And so then we had to hire. So I did it for, I think we hired.
Real quick, I don't want to, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I just want to say something about that because I see that happen a lot, especially if you're taking over a laundromat that doesn't have as high a standards as you have. And when you try to raise those standards and implement things to elevate the experience of, your customer at your store, a lot of times what I find happening is that the old employees either end up leaving or you end up having to ask them to leave, for lack of a better way, because for a couple different reasons. Like, number one, they're just not used to operating at that standard, and or not capable of doing that. Or the other thing is that they've been doing less work and getting their paycheck for doing less work. And now we're saying, hey, we need you to up your game a little bit here. We need you to open doors for people, or smile, or greet people, or, clean a little better, a little more thoroughly. Here's the new cleaning regimen or whatever. And there's a fight there that happens. And that is just super common, that I see that happen. I've had that happen. I've seen that happen 1,000 times before. So I just wanted to point that out, that like, that's something that's a common experience there, especially if you're coming in and trying to sort of elevate the business to a new level and operate it at a higher level there. Yeah. So sorry to interrupt you, but I just wanted to say that.
Right on point. Absolutely. And honestly to that, she had been there so long that I think that held us back from certain decisions that had to be made, or standards that needed to be changed over the time to get us to where we would wanted to be. Love her to pieces, wish her the best, but sometimes it's just not a good match.
Yeah, just not the right fit.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's all that was there. So then Sarah put it all out on Indeed, and I cleaned in the interim. And so she schedules 5 interviews one day. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, all right, well, up on Main Street, a block over is Main Street. I got a nice coffee shop. I'm like, we'll meet up there. I said, we'll sit there. I'll interview them 30-minute intervals or whatever. And
back then that we also the building wasn't open. So we had no space to actually interview them at our location.
Yeah. We didn't have that front section, or it was all being demoed then. So I didn't want to bring people in there and it's like creepy, kind of dark stuff.
Right. Yeah.
There's drywall, wood thrown everywhere, wires hanging out of the ceiling.
Yeah. So you're a little shady looking too.
Yeah,
so
right.
there's that.
Yeah. So we go to the coffee shop, and I got coffee and waiting. The first 2 or 3 don't show up. It's like an hour. I'm just sitting at the coffee shop, and one lady shows up. She was an hour late, and she shows up. I'm like, okay, I'll interview you. And then no one else shows up again for another half hour. And then one person shows up. And I don't think we hired anyone out of that batch.
No.
So
the funniest thing was just his phone call after, because his mind was so blown. He's like, I don't understand. I was like, what do you mean you don't understand? That's just that's what's happening. That's what people are trying to explain, and why it's so hard to find a good team. You just have to grit your teeth sometimes and bear through it. It's unfortunate.
I am naive too, so put that out there. I could be.
Well, maybe you were naive, but Laundromat will beat that naivete right out of you.
They really did. So I'm like, I've always showed up for an interview. I'm sure everyone does that when they get an interview. No, it doesn't happen.
No.
So the next time we go through this again, I'd tell her, do it at the laundromat. I said, I'm going to be there working. I'm throwing drywall up. I put 2 chairs in a drywalled office that's rough framed. And then we had an old desk that was over there. We still have it because it's an old school, it's a cool desk.
It's from the previous owner, from his dad. I like the history and the story that comes with it. We're keeping it.
Old desk. So I was like, nope. I was like, I'm not wasting my time again. I have stuff. We have to get this thing open. So then I interview him in there, and I just say, hey, sorry about it. And I tell him the backstory. We were doing it at the coffee house. no one showed up and I got stuff to do. So we're going to do it here. And then we hired Dean out of that round. Sebastian.
Was that another Indeed lead?
Yeah.
Yes. So
Dean from Indeed?
Yes,
lead?
exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I stick with Indeed personally because you will get hundreds of applications. I cannot track emails and phone calls and Facebook messages and Indeed message. No, you want to apply? Here's the Indeed link. Put it on there, please. That's how you organize it. I don't like having it from 5 different areas. It's too much. I have to keep it organized, streamlined, so I know who we're talking to, who's actually responding. It's a much better system for us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing too, after that first batch of people mostly not showing up, I tried to weed through the candidates with questions. Don't just submit me a resume. I need to see some kind of initiative. No, it's not a fancy, shiny job, like career, but I need to see that you made some kind of effort because then I don't even expect you to show up to the interview otherwise.
Right.
So I do try to weed through candidates, asking actual questions and seeing what their responses are going to be, not just submit your resume.
Yeah. Or if they do respond.
And that's my point. If they don't respond, then I don't even bother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then too, if they ask questions that are on the posting, it means they didn't read. So we also don't interview you.
Correct.
Yeah.
Attention to detail.
Yeah. Attention to detail. But we ended up hiring 2 people out of that round. Mm-hmm. And Dean, who's our attendant on the weekends, he works, we're not fully attended. We're just attended on Friday nights and Saturday and Sunday during the busiest times of the day. Mm-hmm. And Dean does that, and he's been awesome. Dean's a people person.
Yes.
Another man who can talk paint off a wall. So, and he grew up in the area, so he knows a lot of people who come in there.
Yes.
But he's super helpful. Picks up laundry baskets, carries them in and out. Great guy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then the cleaner was Sebastian, a young guy, just wanted a job for that night, a couple hours here and there. And he's been great too, super reliable. Mm-hmm. And he was doing it 7 days a week at one point. And I think he did that for about 6 months. But we'd always ask him like, hey man, when you're ready, you don't want all the hours. I get working every day gets old. Let me know. We'll hire someone else to split these hours with you. And about 6 months in, he's like, hey, yeah, I could use a break. I'd like to only work. And we came to an agreement. And I always asked him, like, you're here first. This is your job. Tell me how many hours you want. How many days do you want to work? Tell me the days. Do you want Monday through Thursday? Because he's a younger kid, so I'm sure he likes to go out and do things. So, and then we posted for Friday, Saturday, Sunday night cleaning. And the third time we did that, I think everyone actually showed up to the interview. Mm-hmm. So like Sarah's weeding of people has worked out.
You're like, dang it, man. I can't get my work done now.
Yeah, he did. He's like, man, I have projects planned today.
Yeah. I'll tell you, it was funny to see the look on her face because the one day I have jeans and there's drywall stuff all over and I'm literally taking off my gloves like, hey, yeah, I'm Nick. I'm going to interview you today. And it's like, all right.
But no, we do have a great team in place. And what's big for us too, recognizing what they do for us and that we would not be successful without them. And like Nick is saying with Sebastian, like not when you're ready. It was more like, hey, if you ever change your mind and don't want to work every day, please just communicate with us. Don't quit. Like we love having you a part of the team. We'll make it work. Just have that open communication with each other. That's gone a long way too. Yeah.
And then we try to do a call on Thursday or Friday. Normally we'll call each person individually and ask them because we don't always see them between my work schedule and Sarah. So we don't always run into the people who work from us all the time. So we do a call once a week. How you doing personally? And at the store, do you need anything? You know, is there some things maybe you've thought of that would work better at the store? You know, we try to give them input and buy-in to, you know, the place and what they're doing there. So
yeah. Our latest hire, she's been with us for a while now. She's just the last one that we hired. Christy has been amazing. Amazing. So we were already doing well, but when she came in, she just put the extra touch on everything. So much organization. I'm like, I love you. I love you.
Yeah, I called Sarah. I said, you should see I said, I think Christy just organized this whole cleaning closet. It looks awesome in here.
Yes.
That's bringing the female touch into the team there. Yeah.
I appreciate you. This is amazing.
Yeah. So we ended up, we gave her a bonus. She did so well. Like we gave her a bonus within the first couple months of her being there. And
we've done that for the others as well when there's something that they've done above and beyond. Yeah. Just that we notice makes a big difference. All of it. Yeah. We try to do a holiday bonus, Christmas, Thanksgiving time. We do a bonus. And this year we go out next week, I think. We go out and do Friday. A company dinner where we take them and their significant other out for dinner and hang out for a little bit. No business talk. It's just to socialize.
Yeah. That's fun. That's fun. And, and again, it's like environment architecture, right? Like creating that environment with the team, and then also filling your team with people who are helping you, who have your vision of the environment you want to create and create that. Like that's, it's awesome. I mean, that's the key, right? That's the formula. But it sounds like until you got that team together, you guys were the ones doing the dirty work. Is that how it went down?
Yes. Yeah. So Nick is, like I said before, he's definitely the hands-on one, the handy one. But don't get me wrong, I've now learned my way around a Dexter washing machine and dryer. I fix it. You should have seen how many people would be like, "Are you okay?" Because I'm on top of them with the tops off in there fixing it. I'm like, he's on shift. I got to figure it out.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm good. I got this.
Yeah. She'd call me and I'd walk her through hey, you got to take that drain. There's something stuck off that. You got to get on the floor and open this up and take that boot off. There's something in there.
And thank God for YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. YouTube University is amazing. Mm-hmm. Amazing. Well, I hope, Nick, that you're saving some of the security camera footage of her getting.
I'm sure I can go
getting
back.
Dirty.
Don't you
dare. Yeah. I just, that might just be YouTube gold right there.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Put that on the channel.
We'll go viral.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, listen, I mean, you guys are doing an awesome job, just putting your business together, putting the team together to help you kind of build that business. What's on tap for you guys in the future? Are you looking for new locations? Are you still kind of getting settled in here? Did you decide that one was enough? What's the plan here?
So we are there's two things moving. We've been looking for our second location for quite some time now. We've looked at a few, just trying to find the right fit. So that, and we're formally launching our wash, dry, fold. So I mentioned adding a new team member soon. So in the next 2-3 weeks, we're launching it April 1st. Our existing employee, Christy, that I mentioned, that's something she's interested in running with. So she's going to head up the wash, dry, fold. And we're backfilling her cleaning positions for Friday, Saturday night. So we're going to continue to grow the team and grow the business. And hopefully, we don't really have a location number, store number in mind. Nick mentioned it not that long ago. If it's a good opportunity, then we're interested.
Every good opportunity we'll take.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, and I like the, I always recommend, if you're going to try to scale your business, right? Scale your business with what you have, right? So if you're planning on adding wash, dry, fold, or pick up and delivery, maximize that business. You've already got this asset and there's room for growth, grow it. And obviously keep an eye out for other opportunities along the way. But once you've kind of maximized that opportunity, that's a really great time to go out and proactively, hunt down that next opportunity. Because now you've got this whole system built out that you can just transplant. I mean, obviously there's nuances to locations and stuff, but you've got the framework, right, to work with and go out and build that out again. So that's awesome.
It's nice now because the store's to the point now where I don't have to go there on all my off days from the fire department, where I feel like now I can start going out and looking at stores and go back to, recon stores and stuff like that. So yeah. But Sarah's always been looking online. She always looks online for stores, and we did
contacting people, networking.
So I tend, we were just talking about this the other day. I said, I've been so focused on the store's 90%. There's a couple little things to do. And I was like, I just feel like I got a couple more things to hammer out there. And she's like, I've been looking for stores. I was like, what do you mean? She's like, I've been looking for stores. I was like, oh. I said, I've been so honed in on, it's right there. It's at the cusp. Get these couple things and all right, now I'll look, but it's good that she's been doing that because I've been focused otherwhere.
That again, that's just why it works. Like our brains work differently. You run in that direction, I'll run in this one. We'll keep growing.
Yeah, it's power of the teamwork, right? And that's that whole like 1 + 1 does not always equal 2, right? Sometimes 1 + 1 equals a whole lot more than 2. And it sounds like you got that sort of synergy going where, I have this tendency to, I get excited about new stuff and I start new projects and I'll look for new businesses and I'll, whatever. But that means that a lot of the times that means that last like 5-10% of any project that you need to finish, like never gets done. Or I've got to be like real intentional, or that last 10% takes as long as the first 90%, like that kind of thing for me. And then my wife is always like, why are you starting that? You still have to finish this. And I'm like, well, that's kind of boring now. So, that's so, we bought a house one time, just like a fixer upper house. And then I was like, I found this other house, and I'm like, oh, look at this. And she's like, we just bought like a fixer upper house. I'm like, well, yeah, but like, that's in my mind, like that's done already. Like we already did that. Like that's, I'm ready.
We did the same thing, bought like a fixer upper. He's like, yeah, it's fine. I'm focusing on this retool now that we weren't going to do till spring, but this is what I'm doing now.
Yeah, exactly. I like your style. That's good. I got a couple more just like kind of general questions for you before we wrap this thing up. Number one is like, you guys have learned a lot. You've grown your business, like you've nearly tripled your business, which is insane. But for somebody who's ready to get started and trying to maybe find their first laundromat, what's your best piece of advice for them?
Go ahead.
So I would tell people two things. Go out on the street and look at laundromats and see what's out there in your area. Sit in them, talk to the people, write down, what's going on in there, the prices. Do your homework on that stuff because you'll see things. Look for where you would improve it so you can start game planning stuff. But then also have it in your mind what you want it to look like. And in my mind, my store, I say it's mine, ours.
You're fine.
I always had, it was
Listen,
like,
Nick, we know whose store it really
yeah,
is.
It's fine. I'll let him have it.
But I always had this of my store looking like, you remember that show Fixer Upper with Chip and Joanna Gaines? Like that style. I always wanted my laundromat to feel like kind of like that ish style, like this fun, like not fun place, but this clean place, look slick on the inside, but you felt at home when you were sitting in there. When you're at, you felt comfortable. So that was like, I always had that as the end goal. So when I went to these places, I go, okay, I could see that's what this is going to look like, or I couldn't, or, and then you come out, you go, nah, this is a better area than I want to work, a bad area. And I don't, cause we always thought about that too, was if it's too rough of an area, would I want Sarah going down there at night too, was the other thing. So, but there's a lot of stuff to incorporate with it, but get out, get inside laundromats. It sounds good on TikTok and clips, but there is a lot of work to it.
But
it's time flexible.
Right. Time flexible.
Yeah.
But to that point, a lot of work, but it's a lot of work that in my opinion is necessary to learn the basics. You got to get involved, get in the nitty gritty, and then you know what you want to do and not do. Mm-hmm. And my advice would be a sponge. Network and be a sponge. Take the good, bad, the ugly, and then do what you want to do. Follow your gut, your intuition, but listen to everyone's advice. There's people that have been through it. A lot of people that have been around. Find those good connections and build those partnerships and relationships, because it's all about networking and relationships.
And take in these podcasts like this one. Listen to Dave's. Waleed's got a YouTube thing, but I always call it like this was my college education. I listened to all these podcasts, yours. I've listened to all Dave's, but then I reached out for all this content and took that in, and I would take notes on episodes. So when I went to these stores, I knew what to look for, like how old were these machines? I could look at the serial numbers. I'd take pictures of them, and then I'd go home and Google, oh, these machines are 25 years old. We knew we had to retool this if we bought it immediately, or other things. Look at the lighting. You know what I mean? There was a lot of tidbits you picked up and took notes on, and then I applied it when I went out to the stores.
Mm-hmm.
I only recommend listening to Dave's after he brought on Carla. That's what I'd say. You can just skip all the ones before he brought Carla on. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. And I love that, those two kind of pieces of advice that you have of like, get in there and visit some laundromats. A lot of what I do with my consulting when I'm talking with people who are trying to buy their first one is trying to make things more concrete for people, right? People have these fears, or people have these ideas, or they don't really know, kind of what to do. And your advice, Nick, of like, hey, get in there, go look at a bunch of laundromats, take notes, pretend like it's yours. And what would you do with it? Like, try to make this a little more concrete, because when it's all just kind of up in your head, but you've never done it before and you don't really have much experience, it's all made up. Like, you don't know. Right. And so actually getting out there, getting in the world and trying to make this stuff a little more concrete for you, it's going to go a long way when you do find that right one. It's going to help you figure out, like you were saying, like, what am I looking for? And is this going to be a good deal for me when you find specific laundromats, right? And when you've looked at a bunch of them, it'll help you figure out like, oh, this kind of area is not the kind of area that we want to be in, or, this layout is not a layout, or whatever it is, right? It's not going to feel homey, or, so I think that is huge. And then Sarah, your advice of like the networking and being a sponge and soaking things up, right? Like, you don't have to reinvent the wheel here, right? There's people who are succeeding doing exactly what you want to do. So finding those people who are succeeding, hearing their game plans and then making it your own, and all that. My only caveat, I think you guys probably agree with this too, is that, also kind of know who you're taking advice. There's a lot of platforms. You kind of alluded to that on like the TikToks and stuff like that, right? There's a lot of people out there, which I think is a good thing, net positive of a lot of people sharing a lot of stuff out there. But sometimes you don't know who it is that is sharing the advice. And sometimes the loudest people are people you may not want to take advice from. Yeah. So just, that's my only word of caution, but by and large, like, yes, like go out there and network, be a sponge. There's something to learn from everybody, even if, they're not necessarily
what you don't want to do.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to put it.
Thing, honestly, when you watch people do things that, I don't want to do that. That's huge. I mean, because that could change your course. You know what I mean?
Well, and to that point, when you're speaking with everyone, I haven't come across anyone who hasn't wanted to talk about it that's in the industry. Like, you become obsessed, honestly.
Yeah. And
once you're talking to people, it's easy to tell. It's easy to tell who to take advice from and who to not. So
yeah. And especially, I mean, it's the same thing, right? Of like going to visit laundromats and stuff, right? It's like the more people you talk to, if you've never talked to anybody, the first person you talk to is going to make a lot of sense to you probably. But the more you talk to, the more you'll be able to sort of pick out, okay, this is probably good advice. This is probably not good advice. Yeah.
Thing too, when I go to these stores, you could tell who was taking pride in their store, and those were the owners. Even if they didn't want to sell that store, I still want to talk to them because they had a good product, and I want to have a good product.
Who was the guy that we connected? There was a guy, an owner. Yeah, I don't remember his last name. Probably that owns a store, wasn't going to sell or already had it lined up to sell to someone who was running wash, dry, fold. Wealth of knowledge. He wanted to share everything. It was great. So even though it didn't end up in purchasing that laundromat specifically, we made connections. I think that's how we met Bill Gilbert.
He put us in contact with Bill.
Yeah, and you just keep having those conversations, and it just keeps going. It's great.
Yeah, every trip out could have like a little nugget of gold. So just keep throwing them in the treasure chest,
Love it. I'm gonna have to go get a treasure chest first, and then
I don't know, man. You down in Hawaii? Sounds like
that's true. That's true. I buried it out on the beach out front. I got one more sort of general question for you before we wrap it up. Now that you own and you've nearly tripled your business, I mean, we've already kind of talked about this, and I got a pretty good idea what you're going to say, but do you have like one best piece of advice for somebody else who already owns, who's like, hey, I want to triple my business. What's your best piece of advice for other owners?
Put your customers first. Build your business based off your customers, as long as it's financially viable. It's not going to put you upside down, but we've always based decisions off making everything better for the customer. Don't get me wrong. We do things that made us more convenient for us too, but that was always the focus, was the customer first, their experience, and then we'd ask them how it went.
Yes. Feedback.
Yeah.
The other thing I would say is come in your existing store, future store with clear eyes. Look at it as a brand new person. You've never been in there before. And what would you change? Because it helps you pick up on little things like we discussed before. It helps you pick up on little things before you might not see or notice every day. And it helps to improve that experience for your customers.
Yeah. Yeah. Money. I mean, that's really like, those are the things that you built. That's the back you built your business on, right? Of the customer service, getting that customer feedback, keeping that notebook and basically checking all those things off and doing all of the suggestions, right? And seeing it with clear eyes. Like that's what you built your business off of. And listen, I mean, it's paying off in a big way, right? And guess what? It's going to translate super well to that wash, dry, fold business. We were talking about it a little bit on the Q&A yesterday or the day before, whenever that was. Yeah. And you guys getting ready to launch that. My only piece of advice is April Fool's Day. That's when you're going to launch it.
But it's a good marketing tactic. I already got a spin for it. It's fine.
I love it. Hey, what's funny is, ironically, I'm pretty sure this episode is scheduled to come out that same day. So there's something special happening that day.
There you go.
Something special happening. I love it. Well, listen, you guys are awesome. Thank you. And we didn't even mention this, and I want to like double thank you. This originally, we were supposed to do this on literally on New Year's Day was the original day. And I had a family emergency come up. We had to reschedule it, but I loved it. And you were like, let's kick this year off the right way. And I was like, so psyched about it. I was kind of bummed. I apologize for having to reschedule it, but
we get it.
I was so psyched about that. And just your like attitude with it of like, let's get after it New Year's Day. Yeah. And that get after it attitude it's contagious. And this whole episode is just, that's kind of shown through, and it's infectious. So I appreciate you guys coming on.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you. Appreciate this platform.
Absolutely.
It's really helped us out. So not just brown nosing, but appreciate you and all those guests and to all the guests who've come on.
I'll take it. Yeah. Keep going.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Everyone who's come on and passed their knowledge on. It's been huge for us. So, thank you.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say is like, listen, it's this, I get a lot of credit. I just try to like pass that right on by, because it's really like people endure my little rants and tirades, but it's really because you guys and everybody else who's been on the podcast and who's coming on the podcast has decided to, none of us are like getting paid to be here sitting and doing this here. Like this is something you guys are saying, hey, we want to help other people. We want to share our story. We want to share our experience. So it's all because of you guys who've come on and done that. So really, really appreciate it personally, but on behalf of, everybody who's going to listen to this and watch this, thank you guys for coming on and sharing such good stuff. You guys are crushing it. I hope you continue to crush it. I know you will continue to crush it. And we're going to have you back on after your wash, dry, fold creates good havoc on your business. You're going to have to solve new problems because you got so much business.
So we're having
big money. So Dave and Carl, the Laundromat Millionaire, we got Laundromat Billionaires in the house over here. Right. It's happening. South Carolina, it's going. I love it. Well, again, thank you guys for coming on, and look forward to doing something again in the future with you guys and hearing how the progress is going.
All right. Sounds great. Thank you.
Take care.
You too. All right, there's almost too many good things in this episode to put into action, but listen, you got to pick at least one of them and do something. All right, go do something. to further your goals, progress towards what you're trying to accomplish here. Do that today if possible. If not, do it this week before the next episode comes out. You got to put in the action to get some results that you want to see in your life. So get after it. Nick and Sarah have handed you on a platter about 1,000 different things you can do. So pick at least one and get out there and do it. And we'll see you next week. Until then, crush it. Peace.